Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is going to be a quick pork vindaloo recipe. This is exactly how I say it. I know some people say vindaloo, some people say vindaloo, and I like to say it as vindaloo. I know it doesn't sound very different from what I said just before this, but it still is different in my head. Ever since I can remember, pork vindaloo has been one of the main delicacies at any party, Christmas lunches or dinners, New Year's, Easter, all of this. And pork vindaloo is one of the main items on our menu. So it's also something that I love to cook and eat. Unfortunately, in this household, I'm the only one who eats pork. So it's not very often that I get to cook it. But also at the same time, I'm not someone who likes to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I like to be in and out as soon as possible, and I don't like to spend a lot of time washing dishes. So I try to use the least amount of dishes I can while I cook, and so that is something you will see in this video. So without taking much of your time doing the intro of this, let's get right into it. Welcome to my kitchen, guys. So I'm gonna quickly have a look at what the recipe is, because although it's not much, I sometimes forget the ingredients because I don't cook it often. My kitchen is a huge mess at this point, but I really don't have time to sort it out. Like, I've got a few stuff over here which was bought yesterday, so I need to sort that out, so pardon the mess. So I've got some pork here which was in the fridge. Now I'm gonna wash it real quick. Just gonna wash it in this bowl. About you guys, but I love pork belly to make this recipe because you do need a bit of fat. So if you're very conscious about the fat content, then you can go with leaner sections of the pork or leaner meat of the pork. You're gonna need a cooker because that's the quickest way to cook the meat. You can actually do it on the oven, but it's going to take time. So I prefer to do it in my pressure cooker. Okay, the next thing I like to use is this chopper cum grinder. It's like the easiest thing to use, and it's so compact and neat. I'm not a person who likes a lot of equipment. Because like I mentioned before, I try to have the least number of things. I try to own the least number of things in the house. And what you will need is garlic ginger, which I already have peeled and kept ready. And some green chilies and some onion. All of that is peeled and washed and kept ready. And you're gonna need a chopping board. And you want a good knife, like a good solid knife. So the first thing I like to do is like to create the paste, and the paste is pretty simple. Some nice garlic. Fresh ones are better. If you don't have that option, you can always use garlic ginger paste. Like, I don't really mind. I do that sometimes. So since this is already a chopper, I'm going to just drop it in as it is because it will do the chopping. And this is something I just eyeball again. It's like a handful of garlic, and the ginger, you might want to give it a small chop before putting it in because it is a little more stiff than garlic, at least for me personally. So I'll just chop that into tiny pieces. So almost like a finger of ginger, like my grandma says, and a handful of garlic. So that's pretty much I put in here. And then green chilies are optional, but I like it spicy, so I like to put a little bit of green chili. So don't judge me for this. This is just my variation of a pork vindaloo. So you are free to skip this step. Putting about 3 green chilies into this. Again, I'm not chopping it. How many of you guys have to keep washing and wiping your hand when you cook? I'm a little weird that way. I need to keep my hands dry while I cook, which is which is really weird because how can you cook with dry hands? Like you have to keep constantly chopping something or the other. So I'm going to now add some onion. So you see we get really huge onions in the market here. And for this amount of pork that I have here, I'm just gonna go with 3/4 of this. I don't need a lot. I'm just gonna go with so much, okay? So again, I'm going to just coarsely chop this. I know this would do the chopping and eventually grinding, but just to give it, just to make it easier for the chopper, I just like to give it a little coarse chop. So now that we have all of the garlic, ginger, green chili and onion, we now need to start putting the spices. So what I like to put is, of course, salt. I like to put cumin seeds, red chili powder, and hey, comment below if you actually store your masalas in a yogurt container. And I like mustard seed, and of course we need some peppercorns, and we need cinnamon stick and cloves. Okay. So we also need vinegar. So I'm going to take some vinegar. So we have all of this here. So I try to use 1 spoon for all of my masalas because less things to wash, and you're also able to get the quantities approximately right. So I'm going to put just I don't know if this is a teaspoon or a spoon. I'm going to just say a teaspoon. I mean, teaspoon or a tablespoon. I'm just going to put a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put half a teaspoon of peppercorns, like just like that. I'm going to put some cumin seeds. My grandmother taught me to say small jeera and big jeera, so even to this day I call this small jeera, although it's cumin seeds. Chili powder, guys. I have pure red chili powder, like the spiciest version of it, but if you have Kashmiri chili powder, you can go ahead and put 2.5 teaspoons. I have the real deal, so I'm just gonna put 1 heaped spoon of this, maybe 1.5, so let's say 2 teaspoons. Okay, mustard seeds. Okay, I want to go easy with mustard seeds because the last time I put mustard seeds, I put too much of it and it became a bit bitter. So just a little bit of mustard seeds, like so much of it, if you guys could see it. Okay, and then I'm going to put cloves. I'm going to put literally 3 cloves, just 3 of it. I'm going to use a spoon for that. That would be silly. And I'm going to put some cinnamon stick. So you see this, like, I don't know if you guys can see. I'm just going to put a little bit of that cinnamon stick. And that's it for the spices. Now the base is going to be vinegar for this entire sauce or masala, whatever you like to call it. I'm Indian, so I'm going to say masala. So I'm just going to eyeball the vinegar. The idea is to like make it into a nice fine paste. And you can keep adding it till you think it's reached the right consistency. gave this a good grind and chopper slash grinder. So first I just ran it on the chop mode and then I ran it on the grind mode. So you almost get it like in this consistency. I don't know if you guys can see it. Like a coarse paste. You can even make it finer, it's up to you. I really don't mind this consistency. I think it gives a good texture to the meat. So my next job is to chop the meat, the pork. Do you see this, guys? Like, this is the fat I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna chop this. I'm gonna chop it into as tiny pieces as possible. So like this size. When I was younger and never used to cook, especially growing up, I was a very lazy kid to do any kind of cooking. And my mom would often tell me that if you don't learn to cook, you're going to get sent home by your husband's family. And I always knew that was not true. I like to cook. It's not like I don't like to cook. It's just that I have my own way of cooking. Obviously, everyone has their own way of cooking. I'm not trying to make anyone look less or more. It's just that I like to cook with less clutter around me. It kind of clears my mental space. Off late, because of the pandemic, you know, we end up buying groceries in a large quantity, and then the first few days will definitely have some stuff on my counter, and today is one of those days where I had some stuff on my countertop because it was washed and kept aside. I've got all the chopped up pork in this, and that's pretty much how much there is. I'm now going to take out all of this masala. I'm going to use the same spoon I used to take out the spices because I don't want to take another spoon. So I'm going to use the same thing. And I'm going to put all of this masala into the meat. And if there's one thing that my mom taught me really well, is not to waste anything. So I try to maximize all of the masala on even on the blade, as you can see. Guys, I paid $40 for this pressure cooker, and it's only a 1 liter pressure cooker. I guess that is the price these days, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not aware of the pricing back in India. But yeah, I'm glad I have it, because this is something that's very useful for me, because I love Indian food, and there's not a single day that I go without eating Indian food. So once I've got most of the masala out, I'm just going to run some water in this and give it a good stir and pour that also into it. This will actually give the meat also some moisture while cooking, while pressure cooking. I'm gonna have to put some water anyway into it. My eyes are burning. Oh wow, the spice is really hitting my eyes. Okay. I like to use a nice wooden ladle for this, so I'm gonna give this a good stir. This was one of the first dishes that I learned to cook, and also one of the first dishes that I cooked when I had some family over, and a lot of them liked it, which was a good thing, and that gave me a lot of encouragement to cook more. And I think that is something that's very important when we are younger. I think if our parents encourage us to cook and also like be appreciative of the effort, I think that actually goes a long way in developing interest. So another way of doing it is you can always season the masala or the marinade before you add the meat, but right now I don't have time, so I'm just gonna dump everything in. So the meat is nicely marinated. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Again, I'm being very Indian here. I'm going to just mix it in that same blender, grinder, chopper slash whatever jar to maximize all the masala that is there in it. I'm going to do a quick clean of the rim of this because I don't like to see any residue on the rim, and then when it cooks it'll get stuck and all of that. It gets pretty messy. Okay guys, so the next step is optional, but it is something that I like to do. I like to add a little bit of sugar to this marinade. I feel like it gives a nice tangy texture to it. So like literally half a teaspoon of sugar. That's it. The sugar and the vinegar and all of that together will give it a beautiful, beautiful flavor. So you can do the same recipe with meat, like beef or mutton or whatever you want, but usually what people do it, like authentic way of making it, is with pork. If you don't eat pork, you can do it with beef, and if you don't eat either of this and you don't eat chicken, you can do the same thing with chicken. The only thing is, if you're cooking chicken, then don't put it in a pressure cooker because it's just going to overcook the meat. You make the chicken in a regular pot, like literally on the stove. Okay, now I'm going to put this on the oven, and typically I would wait for 4 whistles because my cooker on an average cooks everything including pulses on the count of 4 whistles. So I'm going to use the same math for this. If it isn't, then I'm just going to cook it again, but I think 4 whistles should be good. I'm going to keep it there. And I'm going to put it on medium heat, like I have the count between minimum to maximum, which is between 1 to 10. So I'm going to keep it on 5, so pretty much that's medium heat. Okay guys, so you see at this point when the steam is coming like straight out with no inhibitions, this is exactly when you will place the stopper. So this is the stopper, and I'm just going to put it on top of this, just like that. Boom. And I will be back with you guys on the count of 4 whistles to show you what the dish looks like. If you like it to be without much gravy, at this point you can bubble it a little more for another 5 to 10 minutes and you would be able to get a nice thick consistency. I like it like this, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is. So that's it for my video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Feel free to share any comments you have, any suggestions you have, any tips you have down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.